should put our shirts on in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow you did.
I did a
Good job.
I'm proud of you.
The Peter Griffin. I just had this image of someone walking around in a T-Rex costume going,
That's her.
literally the best shit.
With the JDR too.
And I just got rid of my T-Rex costume and I'm regretting it. Well, I was so funny in a T-Rex costume.
I think I got really drunk one night. There's the veil. Oh, I got too close. No.
Here again.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we
Thanks
had
for
a
having me.
last time he was here.
Yeah, it's been just over a year. Yeah.
Sincerely appreciate you returning. So it's gonna
Thanks
be
for
good
having me.
tonight.
Yes.
So I think what we're gonna do is kick off with this gentleman to take pictures and do some autographs or whatever. You do.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah. I'm down.
And maybe would you give us a little bit of a rundown of what your year looks like, because it sounds pretty fabulous ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely, guys. I mean, for who doesn't know, I'm from Ghost Hunters TV show, but I've been around a lot longer than that. I've been doing this for 18, 19 years. Started out just like you guys, coming to like events like this, just hanging out with my wife, investigating these locations, and just having a good time. And it just kind of just spiraled out of control. And next thing I know, I was on TV doing Ghost Hunters. Don't ask me, I forged up my way to that. Just like I've done everything in the paranormal. I'm no better than anybody in this room, but I'm here as a complete observer. When I do an investigation these days, and I'll get into a little bit why I'm a complete observer these days, is because I had written a book about it that's coming out this September. I kind of pulled back and I watch what other people do now, because I had something that attached to me years ago and followed me home. And it played complete havoc on my life for a good 5 to 6 months. So when I do these investigations, and not saying like that will happen at a place like this, because I feel, and I'm not a sensitive by any means, but I feel there's nothing negative here. I feel whatever's here is, it's pretty docile. It's just a haunting. Like a lot of hauntings. There's nothing here that's gonna follow you over, hurt you, or anything like that. But when I go into an investigation, when I do these events, and I do these, several times a month throughout the country, I'm always traveling. I try to stick to the East Coast because that's where I live. But I'll come out here. Like I was just out here last year with these guys, had a great time. I fell in love with this location. I fell in love with the people out here. And I always tell these guys, like, this is, like, even when I'm traveling around, this is one of my favorite events, because just the people were so fun. It's because when I got here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone was lit and drunk. And it was just random. I was like, hell yeah. It's like, this is my kind of, investigation. Like, I literally walked in that door at 4 o'clock and like this whole place was packed and everybody was a shit face.
Sorry, we missed that one.
But it sucked because I couldn't drink because I literally I flew in, I got here maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon from Kansas City, drove here and turned around and flew right back out 6 a.m. So I couldn't drink.
You were still sitting here when we picked you up for the airport.
Yeah, I never went to bed. I was like, let's go, let's do this. I'm not going home. But tonight, this time I had a little more time. I'm not leaving until like 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So, and I got here, 9:30?
Mm-hmm.
She picked me up from the airport, which was pretty cool. And sat her out here for the last.
Next time, call us from the pickup. It's right. It's not far from us.
Yeah,
It
right?
was still awesome. I got up at 7:30.
And why didn't you guys tell me Kansas City Airport's totally different than it was
Oh
last year?
yeah,
They just rebuilt
it
it
just
all. They
opened
just
up.
opened
all
I
it.
flew.
these
I thought it was in
stuff.
the wrong Kansas City. I flew in. I'm like, this is not the airport. I've been to Kansas City Airport a million times. I was like, this is not the freaking airport.
They
I'm like,
just opened it like at the end of February.
was it okay? So I walked through this giant airport because Kansas City Airport was small. It was like it was like the size like Burbank Airport. You ever been to LA? Burbank is really small compared to LAX. And
LAX is a nightmare.
right, and like Kansas City Airport was like small. I always love the small airports. You're in and out really quick. And I flew in this giant airport. I'm like, I am in the wrong place. This is not. I'm hoping I'm in the right state.
Totally should have warned you about that.
Yeah, but no, it was funny. What up, guys?
What'd you think? They're calling it an improvement.
It was nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful airport. But yeah, no, guys, like I said, I had a blast last time I was here. I can't say enough great things about this place. We had a lot of really cool evidence, things that happened. And I can tell you some stuff that happened here today. Just being here by myself, we were here together. She was actually in her room getting ready or something, and I was out here about a half hour just sitting on the couch there. And I heard someone walking back and forth upstairs, just pacing like a good minute. Like there's no one else in the building except us. We were both down here. So that's something that happened here today. The last time we were here, we had a bunch of crazy stuff happen in the basement. Some of these rooms on the second floor, there was some really cool activity. So yeah, just keep an eye out. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm an open book. I'll answer anything honestly, if I can answer it. Besides that, I mean, this next year for me is really crazy. Like I was saying, I had a location I went to in 2015, and the reason that I'm a complete observer these days is because something followed me home and played havoc on my life for a good, like almost 6 months, where I sat down, like I've been on radio shows and TV shows and all these other things where they ask me to talk about my craziest location I've been, and I tell them about this location in Cleveland, Ohio called the House of Wills. And I went there in 2015 and it really messed with me where I almost quit doing paranormal altogether. So everybody kept saying you should write a book about it. So finally when COVID hit, I had nothing to do for a few months, and I sat down and wrote this book, which is coming out this September. It's called The Horrors of the House of Wills. So my plate is like completely crazy from like September on. When the book is released, I'll be in London and all over England and stuff, promoting the book and traveling all over the United States. So that's what she was talking about earlier. Like my schedule is insane right now. I am taking the summer off. I'm trying to take off from July and August, and just kind of concentrate and do stuff at my house. But why I'm waiting for everything to happen. But that's where I'm at right now. So. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be back here again with the new owners. I'm not sure the direction they're going, but it sounds like
Sounding good so far, but
yeah.
it's hopefully going to remain a hotel.
We're definitely going to miss you, and your family. You're amazing.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
I won't come see you in Georgia though.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Savannah. I love Savannah.
It's a great city. All are welcome.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah. But guys, have any questions about anything for tonight? Like what we're going to do or nothing?
we are going to take a tour, and then Christy Ayers is over here. I don't know if you have. Some of you have met her. Some of you haven't. We were blessed to be able to hire her on as our hotel manager and marketer back in November, and then she got the gig, which we knew she was going to get and leave us, but it left a little early. But she's been able to come back and help us with some of these events. Been on Destination Fear and had a really fun background and an incredible future ahead of her. So definitely want to spend some time with her. But she's going to be kind of our lead researcher tonight, and because I do not do the ghost hunts. We did buy this without knowing it was haunted, and you'll hear about some of those fun stories later. So it's been a new learning curve for us. But we're going to do, after you get some pictures, it sounds like this guy is amazing, but it sounds like we're going to have opportunities to kind of
Yeah, I'm here, guys.
talk
I'm here all night, so
and
yeah.
through the night. So,
Nothing, no rush.
but if we want to do some, for sure, group picture, and then
The bathroom selfie.
and then do a bathroom selfie tonight, it's got to be done.
It has to, it's the thing, I'm just telling you.
It's a tradition.
We all cram into the public bathroom and take a selfie.
We
It's become a thing here.
It's
It started with me and some drunk friends, and then drunker friends on New Year's, and now we just do
Tradition
it.
carries.
It just, don't ask, it's me.
We probably should do that before people start dwindling off later tonight when I get tired. So
Yeah,
we should
I
probably do that
know.
early.
Let's do.
Yeah.
And we will spend about 30 good minutes, if not 45 minutes, doing that tour. We had gotten away from that for a while. Last several times we've done these events, we've started picking it back up. The reason why, we feel like when you're talking to the spirits, you're spending time on site, it's really good to know the base and the core of what's here. I'm going to go through and tell you as much activity as we know about what we've seen in each of the spaces, including all of your rooms and experiences. When you're communicating with the spirits, it's kind of nice to be able to have some connectivity of who you might be talking to, or some things that may have been taking place 140 years ago on site. So that's why we're going to spend some time doing that, and then we'll do the breakouts with these guys, and you'll get almost the entire hotel to explore. So a little bit of notes before we start dispersing here. We do request that we fully respect the spirits on site at all times. There are no Ouija boards. We do not yell. We do not get distasteful. We will ask you to leave if you do so. So we are kind to our spirits, and thankfully they have been a blessing and kind to us because of that. If the doors are closed, please leave the door closed. We do ask, though, it's not a requirement, that if you would leave your door open for research tonight, that would be great. If at any time you are ready to shut it down and go to bed, you're welcome to do that. Just kind of give somebody a heads up, closed door. So if the door's closed, please don't enter. There are a few locations on site that are off limits. We also ask that this whole area remain quiet zone. The reason why is directly under us is one of the most active locations. And when you are under there, you can hear everything up here. So it completely kills the vibe if you're trying to research down below. So if you're in here, keep it quiet. There's several really great spaces upstairs now where you can kind of mingle and do whatever you need to do. We're thrilled to have you here. So let's have some fun, and let's start with the group picture, and then
Sure.
how about the sun's, it's a little earlier, the sun's staying out longer, so maybe that direction instead. How about that?
Yeah.
By A.D. Walker, and Miss Josephine is A.D. Walker's daughter. She was actually born during the construction process. We see her on site regularly. You're going to hear me talk about Mike and Sam quite a bit through the night. They're pretty special people to us. They actually work for the federal government and do cold cases. We met them about 6 months after we purchased the property in 2020, and they come on site about every month and help us with all sorts of holes. And we'll fill you in on some of the Miss Josephine vibes that we've gotten here in the past. So when we purchased, COVID decided to do a second spike that next week, and we had gotten all of our licensing approved with the state and the fire marshal. And then a couple weeks before that purchase and a week before COVID spiked, they found a little tiny sheet of paper and file, and it said that the place was supposed to have been shut down 12 years prior. And so there we found out it had been illegally operating for the 12 years prior to us taking possession. They came in and hit us with about a $250,000 bill of requirements, on top of the fact that they were getting ready to shut down. There were a lot of needs, and you're going to see as you walk around, that's my disclosure, you're going to see there are still a lot of needs to the place. And we've kind of done the best we can. with, life in COVID and complete shutdowns over and over again, and still trying to bring this place back to life. The night that we first purchased and stayed on site, we found out there was activity here. We knew that the Buffalo Room, who's my Buffalo Room people? That's right. We knew that the Buffalo Room had some stories of some activity. Supposedly there was people being watched at night, and there's a portrait on the wall that spins. That's all we knew. Everything else was kind of denied that there was any activity. That is not the case. Some of our most incredible activity has actually happened during the day, during the week. So we were open with our restaurant. It was Sunday afternoon, 12:30, and we were packed. I had 2 chefs on site. One of my sons was sitting back at the office, and I was standing here at the computer, and a woman's voice came on the answer machine and said something, and then goes, hee hee, and kind of looked at Talon. I was like, did we miss a call? And there was no missed calls and no messages on the machine. And so the chefs actually heard it, and my oldest son, who was managing at the time, and they all came in, and I was telling them about it, and 2 of the kids had a hand on wires, and one of them said, well, what's it connected to? And the same woman's voice came on the answer machine and said, that's not it, in that same tone. So, middle of the day, Sunday afternoon.
Isn't that same answer machine that's back there now?
Yeah, with 59 messages on it. Yeah, if you've called, my apologies, we're not here anymore. So the only way to get a hold of us is email and messaging. So sorry if I've upset any of you this
Yeah, we got a great new message though.
Yeah.
We should talk about that.
Go ahead.
So when I came in yesterday, I started going through all the messages in case there was anybody calling for today. And so I couldn't help myself but to record this one because I didn't want it to get lost. But this was, let's see. So message 32. Oh, my bad. Message 31.
It's not very clear on there, clear as heck, live, and it says demon on there. So one of the reasons we actually decided to keep the live phone wires is, and what you'll understand from the techies specialists tonight is a lot of most of the heaviest form of communication actually comes through lines like that. And some of like the 1980s style recorders, the voice recorders they used to use in courtrooms, they're like $2,000 or $3,000 now. It's the old equipment, and that's what picks up some of the best communication. So we've had all sorts of things come through the phone line. After we bought, we found out that they had actually gone through and shut off all of the telephone lines because there was all sorts of things happening with the telephones. So we have a lot of issues with technology. Of course, I was sitting there earlier with some of you guys, computer zapped, things like that happen. Yes, it's a 140-year-old building, so you could say it might be the wiring, but it happens remote too. We were asked our first year to be along with the world's largest ghost hunt of one of 100 locations, along with the Conjuring House, Dracula's Castle, and then of course we got to be on site too. We had a number of cameras and specialists that were in doing the documenting, and this happens every time. They'll come in with full batteries, and there's just something about this place that just zaps them. And we had that problem that entire night, and we were live streaming for basically 24 hours, and we couldn't get through an hour without things just shutting off. That happens all the time. You'll probably notice that tonight. Bless her heart, we had Wraith Chasers a couple weeks ago. A lady had her hearing aids. They were completely charged when she walked in. They kept zapping. They kept going dead on her. So it's just little things like that, little intricacies of this hotel. Okay, so when we came in, we started to restore immediately, and that's when we became aware that we had haunts here. If you've heard, the more you kind of start tearing into buildings, the more it kind of shakes some things up. So we started communicating immediately and saying, hey, listen, we're not here to hurt anything. We're here to try and bring this place back to life. And honestly, we have been super supported with the spirits since. This is going to be a great location to do some research in. Miss Josephine is regularly spotted right here greeting our guests, and she is usually wearing her white gown. I've never seen her here. I'm going to show you where I have seen her. And then Mr. Bill Tier, one of our original proprietors, is regularly seen at our 1860s vaudeville piano. One of my kids built an SLS system one year. That's that stick figure that you see online.
Yeah.
And we were sitting here after a ghost hunt, 2:00 in the morning, and he pulled it out for the first time. And I said, hey, one of the psychics that was here kept saying they saw a whole bunch of activity over here. Turned it on, and immediately there was either a child or somebody sitting at the stool. And you kind of jump when this happens. No matter if you're here to prepped and ready for it, when it happens, you jump. So we jumped a little, and he goes, if you're sitting there, can you raise your hand? And the hand raised. And he said, can you do it again? And it did it again. 3 times in a row on command, the hand raised. We have very intelligent spirits. The reason I'm taking time here in this room, we're not going to take this much time all over the hotel. But when you're talking tonight, you're going to see we have very intelligent spirits. We don't know why, but we are also the hotel for ghosts. So we have ghosts that come in and out. We don't know what they've done, but they've knocked something over. They've made noise, but they won't communicate. But the intelligent spirits will have full sentence communication, and they will answer the same tonight as they answered 2 years ago to somebody completely different on the opposite side of the world that's come in. So I'm not sure why they've stuck around. We haven't figured that out. We probably have about 20 to 25 of them that have names and that are regular entities here. Let's go have some fun. We had our real estate team sitting in the building. Nobody was here. Everything was shut down except for the back door that we came in. 3 of us heard walking down the hallway, and I was sitting right at that table that you can't see because I forgot the door shut. Looked up, and a woman in white with her hair in a bun walked through here. This is about 6 months ago. And I hit my son, who was still here, and I said, hey, somebody's in the lobby, go help them. And he got up with no questions because he heard it too. Got up, went in the lobby, and he came back. He said, Mom, nobody's here. Nothing on the video cameras. Door was locked. Nobody here. Mike and Sam happened to be at the lake house, which was our other location up until 2 weeks ago, working. And they came in later on that morning. I was still shooken up. I said, you won't believe who I saw. And they said, yeah, that's Miss Josephine. So now I can officially say, when you see it tonight, it's going to be clear. It is pretty incredible. It looked like an actual human. You will also see full shadow figures. I'm going to show you where that happens regularly. Great place to take pictures and capture orbs is at the bottom of the stairs up into the mirrors. In here, I guess I'll open this up. This was our gift shop up until about a month ago. As you've heard, we are transitioning and somebody is purchasing the property. This was also the original Stagecoach entry. Because this was a gift shop, we never researched it. If you guys want to research tonight, might be a great new spot for you to try. We always had it closed off. But if you can picture the ladies in their gowns coming in, and you can see on this picture right here, the Stagecoach would have been pulling up to that entry. They would have come in and to this main level. This main level was all public space. There were no hotel rooms on this main level. There was a formal dining hall at the end. Oysters on the half shell, high-end steaks, soups. So it was definitely a high-end location. It was also the reason why we wanted to put a restaurant back on site, to bring this back to as much of a historical presence as we could. Kitchen was on the far left. The restaurant was on the far right, and both of these rooms were parlors. If you are in Victorian parlor, I think somebody is tonight, you'll see an old fireplace with some of the stonework. We just pulled that up about 10 months ago. Pulled up the old carpet, and you can see some of the original stonework that we found under here. We did get a mason to put the pieces back. You guys can come on down. Yes, now we just fix whatever's exploding. We say Miss Josephine kind of makes the shots on that. So none of these rooms are anywhere to the caliber of what we'd wanted. Not a whole lot in these spaces here. That said, every room has activity. That first night we were staying on site, we actually had beds shake. My son was staying in this manager's office, and then I was right across the hall. I didn't believe him the first night. I still was the skeptic. I believed in God, but did not believe in ghosts. And he said it felt like an earthquake. And I said, yeah, you're full of crap. Next night, the exact same thing happened. I've been a believer ever since. It is, if you have not experienced it, it literally feels like somebody has forcefully shook in your bed. That is a normal occurrence here. Jesse James, if you're staying in there, that's a very regular thing in there. Tear, it's a very regular thing. It happens everywhere. So one of the things you can look forward to. If you are concerned and scared, like I am when I sleep here, you can leave the lights on and usually nobody messes with you. So, all the artwork, the spirits attached to things sometimes, not just people but things. We found over 100 pieces of art down in the basement. The place was completely hoarded when we bought it. So we did open the art gallery. A lot of these pieces are super old, or tell the story about historical living in rural America, and so we've kept them because of that. Anybody want to guess what this is? Give me one guess.
Oh, this?
It's a sock weaver. A sock weaver. I'm going to show you downstairs where they used to have a lot of the businesses. We believe that there was probably a seamstress on site. So Tier is not, nobody's staying in Tier tonight because a bed broke again. And I'm not sure how or why. You probably don't want to know, but anyway, this is one of the first rooms we started to fix if we had had the cash funds that we needed. The windows, the bathrooms, the heat and air would have all been restored at the same time. But this will give you an idea of everything in there is historical, including the blinds, except for the beds. The beds and the light and of course the TV are all new, but everything else were items found on site. This actually is a very active room. Even though it's not being stayed in tonight, feel free to go into it. It's right below Buffalo Room, which is our most haunted room. There's a lot of touching that takes place in this room. So.
Well, that's the one we put in for too.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that.
And we were like, this isn't the room.
You didn't have any issues in it?
I was like, oh, that one didn't seem too bad. So maybe we'll request that one.
Well, now we're in one that doesn't have any activities. Oh.
Oh.
Now we're going to be sleeping.
Wow.
Neither one of us could get up. That was our news.
Yeah.
Broken bed.
Spirits were probably left here over the years. We also talked about spirits coming in and out, sometimes attached to people, sometimes attached to things. From what I understand, there was a railroad that was 2 blocks down and had a lot of transient traffic back and forth. This was a pretty major community back in the day. Also, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the judicial system was pretty rough. So, oftentimes our citizens would take the judicial system in their own hands. There were signs of a bridge outside of town where a lot of that took place. So for safety purposes, and also as prisoners were coming through on the railroad, they would oftentimes be locked up in our hotel rooms. We still have 2 of the original chains attached to the walls on site. If you get a chance tonight to go into the public restroom, which it sounds like you're going to with Christy, make sure and look behind the window. You'll see a chain on the wall. And then also if you're staying in Jesse James, make sure and take a peek in Jesse James. You'll see one of the original chains as well. We assume that all of the rooms probably had them at one point. There's what we call dead doors up here. All of these dead doors would have been individual rooms. At some point when they remodeled and took out the kitchen downstairs and those parlors and made those hotel rooms, they opened these up into suites. And so this would have been 2 original rooms. And if you go inside, you'll be able to see kind of where those walls, I like the space because it kind of shows the history of it. You can see where the original walls were and where the original plumbing was. They would have had 2 sinks, but not a toilet, right? Chamber pot, or they would have gone down to the bathhouse, which is now the current kitchen for the restaurant, which isn't open right now. But that was called the bathhouse. So you'd pay your nickel, go take your hot bath, go to the bathroom, or have, the ladies would probably come and take your chamber pot and dump them as well. So anyway, be sure and explore. For example, Grover Cleveland has 3 doors. 2 of them are inoperable, dead doors. So it's opened up into one of our largest suites, but that would have been 3 rooms. That place is pretty spectacular. So if you heard of 1889 McIntyre Villa, if you haven't experienced that, you need to. She comes here often. She has a lot of stuff that like flies across the room there. And we're super communicative. So there's a lot of communication here. She likes to come hang out here and communicate. We don't investigate Grover Cleveland ever with our groups because it's kind of the party room. If you do get a chance to look at it, I told you it was the largest suite. There's a sofa set, and so that's usually where the partiers kind of go and hang out. The big groups kind of hang out in there. So nobody really ever investigated it until she came over about a year and a half ago, and we lost her. And she was up here for a couple hours hanging out in the bathroom. And we're like, what are you doing? She's like, you would not believe the incredible communication that was coming from that space. So if you get a chance, definitely go into that space. The cabinet doors will open. We've had stuff fall off the beds that shouldn't. I mean, you know, there's a certain part of, well, that's coincidence where like there's a person, it just falls off. But then there's a part where there's a person, it like flies off. There's two differences that we've seen. So anyway, go in and investigate that. One of the really cool pieces to the Grover Cleveland bathroom is it is connected to the Carrie Nation bathroom. My oldest son, who you've probably seen on some of the videos and shows on the Hotel Josephine Tracer, this was the one room when he was managing that he couldn't go into a Carrie Nation. It just felt heavy, felt like he couldn't breathe in there. Rumor had it there was a woman that had died in the space. I'm not sure if she was strangled or something else bad happened in there, but everybody says they can't breathe in that bathroom. If you have watched some of our episodes, there's screaming that takes place in that bathroom that has come up on your videos. When you are researching tonight, and Christy, when you're researching with Christy and Daryl, they'll probably tell you, record everything and then go back and listen to it the next day, because you can't always hear things with your ears, but it comes up and it's incredible what comes up the next day. That's what happens in this space, in the Carrie Nation bathroom. COVID and fire marshal requirements, everything, it was just hell, to be honest. And my team was not moving at the pace that I wanted them to move that day. And all these rooms had doilies, and it was like cluttered with like 15 different, it's just stuff, you know, stuff to dust around, and I just couldn't handle it. So we were trying to move everything out that we could to try and eliminate it and get some of this stuff sold. And we were pulling pictures off of walls in here. So I grabbed some and walked down this room where we were storing everything. Second batch, I grabbed a hold and had three photos in my hand and started to walk here and got right to that black tape. And if you guys ever walked out in the morning and hit a wet spider web, a really hard wet spider web, like run right into one, you know what it feels like? That's what that felt like. I've never had that happen. That was my first touch on site. I have been touched a lot since. Sometimes I think I'm crazy, but it is legit and you'll know it. Anyway, I stopped and the ladies saw me and they said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Do you see anything floating around me?" And they said, "No." And my hair was pulled back really tight. We looked up at the video and I thought, okay, I'm going to ask Tracer. And I looked down at my phone and it said 1111. I had not been a numbers person until that day. Since then, 1111 has been insanity in my life. There was 15 seconds that went black on that video, and it was right in that time frame. So we did not get any evidence. I don't know what it is, but needless to say, those three portraits are back on the wall. So if you go into John Wayne, that's what I was holding that day. Right around by the bathroom, when we had to scrape a whole bunch of wallpaper off in here. There were 6 layers of wallpaper. The bottom layer we actually kept a little piece of, and we had a frame around it, but when we had to put this window in, it knocked off and we just haven't replaced it. So if you want to see some of the historical wallpaper, that's kind of a cool place to see it. Carrie Nation we've talked about. John Wayne, Bill Tier, one of our original proprietors, that's oftentimes seen at the piano, oftentimes seen in here. So. Weeks, or I say last several weeks, the last several groups, since we're not open during the week anymore, you'll feel the weight of that. Go touch it. It's fine to touch it. It doesn't move easy. I mean, you have to have some force. We have caught some video. I have not. People have caught video of that thing moving on its own. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting because our hotel doesn't do that often. Bed jumping is normal in here. It's not normal in Charles Curtis, but we've caught evidence of SLS jumping on beds in Charles Curtis, and you can see that in the Paranormal Files episode. So happens in here, but you can see it in here. Kind of cool. So these 2 rooms are pretty special. All right, this is where it all started. You will see full body shadow figures coming from this room to our storage rooms regularly. February 14th, we were having our first big event, and it was like 6 months after we bought it, 4 months after we bought it, I guess. And a girlfriend of mine and I were standing at the end of the hallway. It was our big first event. And we both were watching down here, and I'm telling you, a full body shadow went from here to here. And I looked at her and I said, "Did you see that?" She said, "Yep, I did." So that is a normal thing coming across. I usually just give the history tours and talk a little bit about the ghost stories of what I know. Do not participate in the ghost hunts. My son was doing that with Ghost Hunts Kansas, Ghost Tours of Kansas. I screwed that up. Kathy Ramirez, she's fabulous. Anyway, they were down in the basement. I took a family with a little 8-year-old on this tour that we're doing. And this little 8-year-old was running into each of the rooms ahead of us, hiding in the closets, jumping out and screaming at us every time we went through. Super busy. So we actually ended up here that night, and she ran ahead of us and we lost her. I was halfway down the hallway. We heard her scream bloody murder in here and came out and ran back out to her mom. And she said, Mama, I just saw eyes in the closet. And she looked at me and I said, yeah, I was getting to that. That is a normal thing in this room, is to see eyes in the closet. For an 8-year-old that had no clue what was going on, had not been paying attention, I had not told that story for that to happen to her. She was a changed child that night. Kathy Ramirez came up the hallway at the same time this was taking place, and she's like, "You will not believe what just happened in the basement." And I said, "You won't believe what just happened here." At the same time that took place, we had our first movement on site, and it was a chair in the basement that did a complete 180, and there were 7 people down there watching it take place. So pretty awesome. They've been sitting there for about 45 minutes. About half the group had gotten up and left, and it wasn't a few minutes later, and a chair that had been in the corner went boop. So anyway, kind of fun night. This room, you'll see that little black swirly. If you've watched some of the evidence or seen it online, that's where it took place. About 6 to 8 months after we bought it, again, we started opening up and people started to come stay. Our first paranormal investigation took place by Annam Paranormal. Annam Paranormal was trained by Ed and Lorraine Warren. You probably know them because of the Conjuring House. Anyway, there's Ed and Lorraine Warren have also trained and worked with Mike and Sam, our good friends that we keep talking about. So Ed and Lorraine have a little bit of a connection of a lot of people that have been coming on site. So they caught it, didn't recognize it until they went back to do their studies later that week. They did not release the imagery for about 6 months to us. They've sent it off to like Kodak and a whole bunch of other ghost professionals just to make sure it couldn't be debunked. Nobody's been able to figure it out. So there it is. We had the only time I can't go in here at night. It's heavy. It's you, right? Yeah. Yeah, she noticed it earlier today.
I walked in and then I walked out and said, "Oh."
About 40% of our guests actually make it through the night now. It's been going down. If you do pass out early tonight, set your alarm for 2:30, 3 o'clock. That's a very active time for the entire hotel, definitely in this room. One of my sons brought 2 of his high school buddies in, all athletes, they're tough, super tough guys. And it's kind of a small bed. All 3 of them were curled up in this bed sleeping. They were going to be tough and try it out. All night we had what's the little thing that goes over the lights that go? The REM pod, thank you. It was in here, and they said it was going off pretty regularly every 20 to 30 minutes, which would have made sense with the systems that are underneath, because right underneath is a boiler unit and the mechanicals, going off pretty regularly. But it was freaking him out every time it happened. All of a sudden, one of the kids started punching Talon. He said, "Hey, something's happening." And the thing was going off pretty aggressively. And Talon sat up. And at the time, Talon, my son, had been doing a lot of night shifts. He won't do them anymore. This place jacked with him too much. It was that much. Anyway, Talon sat up and he goes, "I don't feel like we're welcome here anymore." And that thing goes, "Meow, meow, meow, meow." All 3 of them got up and left. We talked about the world's largest ghost hunt that we were on. We had 24 hours of filming. They could cut in and grab us anytime, but there was 1 hour of live feed that we had to access. We had to be prepared and ready for. It's the only time at night I've been in this room. But there was lights and cameras and lots going on. There's probably 15, 18 people shoved in this space. We had to get evidence. So Dan Terry was here with us that night and was one of our provokers, and he was pretty rough with them. And we had 2 SLS cameras on him and videos filming the SLS. And he started getting rough, and something came out of the closet, jumped on his head, and started punching him. And that was all caught. As soon as that took place, all the cameras zapped. At the same time, it was crazy. We lost all feeds. So, and none of these were plugged in. These were all wireless. So that's why I was talking to you about the technology thing. It's crazy. You'd think, well, maybe it's just the basement, it's pulling too much. Nope, not the case. We've come in and we've souped everything up because we have so many people filming internationally and for major TV shows and for a lot of live streams that our internet, it works everywhere. It's supposed to work everywhere. And if you don't have the code, let me know and I'll get it to you. So, that's pretty much that's really the main stuff. I mean, this is a hot spot tonight, so you'll want to hang out in there. Just wine, yes. This was not the original restaurant. This is a restaurant that we opened up. But I want you to see it. We are going to have it shut off tonight just because we did shut down our liquor license and we can't have our guests around wine, unfortunately, that we own. But this is on a deck. So this was manager's quarters when we bought it. We changed this into space. It was intimate dining. Most we could put out here were 40. But in there is the bathhouse. So we've opened that up to, it actually is a licensed operating kitchen. We actually just shut down our license on that at the end of March. We were doing catering, but we haven't been open for about a year for regular. Anyway, it's really cool architecturally wise. The wood floors, amazing. But if you can imagine, that would have been the spot they would have come and paid their coin and had their bath in. So when the new owners take this on, please encourage them to open this place up. I suspect it'll be a lot easier now that COVID's gone. It has a lot of potential, so encourage them to do that because we were hosting with our big events like this. We would have had a whole meal planned and we would have paid extra, of course, but it was a lot of fun to be able to combine the two. So anyway, I wanted to make sure you guys got a chance.
Don't hit your head. There we go.
Yeah, she seems to get getting around. These stairs aren't easy. They're so steep. Cuddle in. I know it's kind of tight. Sorry, guys. So when we bought this, we had all sorts of plans before, other people had plans for us.
We are ready to stay.
But
you are more than welcome to come in.
So all of this would have been retail space or offices or doctor's clinics. We don't have the original plans for the basement, unfortunately. We have the plans, but we don't know what was here, whereas upstairs they wrote dining hall, kitchen, and things, but they didn't do that down here. What we do know is there's a large stairway with a door. There was at least 5 entrances to the basement. You can see these from the historical photos that we've been sent. We were going to turn all of this back into a speakeasy around the corner and some retail space. I pray that the next people do that. We have put that tidbit in front of them. Hopefully they'll take off with that. Again, these were all hoarded rooms. They're just not much spaces to walk. And we were a little overwhelmed that first month that we took this on. So we were looking for any little God wink we could that we had made the right decision. When we unburied that area back there, we found a stage. We thought, you know what, this is pretty appropriate because we wanted to turn some of the area into a speakeasy and there was an original stage. At one point, we have heard that Holton had 6 opera houses, which is pretty crazy for this size of town. I don't know if they were in different locations at different times or not, but it was a very active community, a central major flow through community. You'll still see some of the original chains. Those actually are just hanging up here, but they were from upstairs in the bedroom, original hotel rooms on the 2nd floor. So this area will be closed off tonight. I did want you to see it because our liquor is in here. We can't have research. That said, when we had our restaurant and hotel going, this was very active with staffing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And most of my staff wouldn't come down to the basement. And I didn't have any problems. I don't know why. We just kind of, just do it. And I'd say, hey, listen, don't mess with me tonight. I just don't have time for it. But a lot of my staff couldn't come and get the alcohol or the pop or the toilet paper or whatever they needed, because this is where we had stacked everything. I never had any problems up until about 6 or 8 months ago. And I started feeling a lot of heaviness down here, and like I was being watched. We had a group come in. Actually, it's been close to a year, because it was the last time the Wraith Chasers were here, not this time. So it was a little under a year ago. And they brought with them the Our Haunted Lives, which is a radio group, and Dave Taylor, is that right? Anyway, I was telling him about what was happening to me down here, and I said, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like there's a man standing there watching me every time I come down here. And I just say what I say, and I leave and do our thing. And he came down, and he passed out, basically. And he's never had that happen. And he actually left the event early. It's the first time he said that's ever happened. He was shooken up. He said that there was something crawling up on the ceiling when he got down here. So that was enough for me. Normally, that conversation would have been had next door in the room where we're going to go see next. That's a room I won't go in day or night. There is a very heavy presence. We have 2 children that hang out here at the hotel. You'll hear them running down the stairs, jumping on the beds. We assume that's them jumping on the beds. Christopher is the little boy. We do not know the little girl's name. We've never figured out the little girl's name. I don't know why. They are very chatty. They love to sing. They love to play. So involve them in those ways. But sometimes it will get quiet really quick and very heavy. And my son had a lot of problems with this, and some of our other very sensitive people and our psychics that have come in on site, I've heard, have had a lot of problems with this next door. There is a negative energy, a gentleman. He's not evil, but he's heavy. What we think was happening is we were investigating this place so much because we had it open during the week. People were always down here, and they were in that space. We think he kind of moved over here just to have some quiet time. That was what we came up with, because we never felt it over here. All of a sudden, I wasn't comfortable over here. So we think whatever was here just kind of shifted. So that said, you're not going to miss out on anything. Trust me, you're going to still probably meet him tonight. He is next door, but just wanted to let you know how some of this space has kind of evolved over time. So anyway. And check out the wallpaper on site. You can see the differences in the different rooms. It's 140 years old, pretty fabulous. About 10 to 12 foot high of limestone, and then brick all the way up after that. Watchboard again. We could only walk on that little platform. Everything else was piled high, floor to ceiling with stuff. We found some incredible historical items, which we will hopefully be passing on either to the owner or the historical society, depending on how things go. We find a bunch of crap in a box, and then one really cool feature, like 100-year-old laundry detergent, or an old piece of picture, or the old 140-year-old key holder. The problem with that is we never knew if they were ours or the other hotel, which was on the other side of the square corner, and it burned down in 1980. It was twice the size of our location. They were oftentimes named the same thing: the Holton Hotel, the Holton House, the City Hotel, the Tier Hotel, and it depended on what proprietor was in charge and if they were running both of them at the same time. So we were finding items, and we never knew if they were ours or the other hotels. As we've become internationally known, people that have had connectivity or their families have been the owners or proprietors over time had pictures, and we've been sent pictures which have been filling in holes. One of the first pictures we got from outside area was back from 1905-06, and it was of the Sutherland family. And upstairs, it showed on the wall at the checkout desk the key holder that we had found down here. So it's things like that now we know that one's ours. So it's filled in some incredible holes. There weren't pictures inside of the hotel before 1970. So any of those little blessings that we've been able to accumulate have just, we've really tried to stick a hold of. This would have been the market. This is also where we would have loved to put the speakeasy, and hopefully will happen someday. So the railroad went by, the vendors would have come in, set up their tables, shopkeepers would have come in and made their purchases here. So this was a pretty active space. This is the room I won't go in day or night. You're welcome to go in there tonight. There are some items on the right-hand side we ask you don't touch. Everything laying on the floor, please just leave alone. There's some dolls in there. They were found on site. They are heavy. We ask you not to pick them up. There's some pretty heavy energy with them. I don't mess with it, but the kids are very active in there. Also, that heavy spirit is in there. Please don't go past the fence. We believe that's the original well for the hotel. We've been told that that's where it is. So the water cistern has been filled in, but we just don't trust it. So please just don't go over there. That's an area you'll want to hang out. If you're super brave tonight, that's it. Otherwise, if you're sort of brave and want to be close, this is a great spot as well. So. The gift shop in that stagecoach entry. This is actually the stairwell that they would have entered in. So there's a floor over it now, but it's pretty cool because you can still see the original stairwell.
So where did the shop people come in with their stuff?
There would have been, there's 1, 2, 3 doors over on this side, and then there's this room. No, not over there. There would have been over here. And then there was 2 more. I think these have been finished. If you look at the pictures up above, it looks like it's either this space or next door entry. This space.
Pictures of the dolls?
Entry in it, and then there was another entry in the back, and then another one. So
There's
in there tonight, yeah. You were asking about entrances. Right here is one of them as well. When we bought this, it was full. One of the fire marshal requirements was we had to pay for a structural, not structural architect, it was an architect, it was super expensive, to come in and measure every square inch of this entire location.
Make sure it's gonna fall in.
11 o'clock at night, about a month after we bought, and I'm laying in bed and the plans come in and I'm like, oh, this is super cool. So I'm looking at it and I'm chills up the back. There was a doorway here that we never knew was here.
Oh.
So Tracer and I at the time came down the next day and we're like holding on to each other and like peeking around, and it's just crazy, all these little things that keep popping up as we've owned it. I was just telling these ladies, a little under 14,000 square foot for the entire facility. There's one thermostat for the entire facility, and it's on the main level in the kitchen or in the office. So when we have our bar crawls and have a whole bunch of people up there and doing things, sometimes rooms get cold because it's warm out there. So one of the things that I had on my list was to replace this and to do some zone heating. Thank goodness our boiler lasted through the winter, but it won't turn on this week. So if you need an extra blanket tonight, let me know. It should be pretty okay. It manages pretty well because our walls are pretty thick.
People were hot in our room.
Yeah.
But is
They
it?
wrote comments.
Uh-oh.
Where are you guys at?
What is the name of it?
Rock Island.
Rock Island.
Okay, yeah. So hopefully it'll be comfortable for you tonight. But this is the boiler we're currently using right now. This is the original. She's a big boy. So if you go around the corner, this would have been our original stagecoach entry. Just like New Orleans, Savannah, if you go in the back, everybody has stagecoach carriage houses, right? Hotel Josephine had hers as well. Tomorrow when you leave, if you go down the alley, there's also a structure next door. Across the alley, you'll see it would have been an old carriage house as well. We actually were sent some pictures by another owner about 100 years ago that showed a wooden structure onto this that would have been the garage they would have pulled in. So it would have been a little twice as long. It would have been out into the alley. So again, have no idea what this space would have been for, but we have been approved to put a museum in this space, and that would be our entrance. We had to get through with the fire marshal requirements before that took place. That is one of the things we're really going to be most sad to leave. One of my kids is a historian. He's actually going to go with my oldest out to Georgia and go to Georgia Southern to study history. And he has done a lot of the research on this place. for us. And we were pretty excited to put this together. I hope the next owners will do so. That's why we're going to try and hold on to those historic items unless they choose to not continue with the hotel, and then we'll pass everything on to the Historical Society instead. So
this is. That's coming from just white noise.
It's them talking to each other about us. You have to watch the video to hear it better.
And I'll give you all the link to this if you want it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? So the thing about it, the reason I ended up in their documentary is because the first time I met them, I was so fascinated. And they're like, here, look at everything. Check everything out. You have a background in sound. Check it out. And I was like, there's no way this is fake. You can't fake it.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
They're very open to everything. Like any scrutiny, anything, they're open to it.
yeah, they're like,
Here it is.
"Kind of talk."
You tell
Yeah.
us if we're doing something wrong, or if we're doing it right, or we're not. And it blew my mind. I was like, what the hell?
But I just want to point out, Lourdes is the smart one. She's the one who actually figured it all out. So I was telling Ron that I'm just like, let's just face it, you're nothing without her. And he's like, I know. No, they're amazing people. I love them both dearly. So I'm excited to be part of their whole whatever. And now you get to learn it today too.
Yeah.
But whether it works or not for me, good luck.
Yeah, but you definitely should get the link and watch these videos. They're
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah. So I think we got everybody here now, right?
Yep, are we ready?
Is everybody down here? Or is that
Everybody's
people
coming,
walking
someone's
upstairs?
I have it turned down. But what I like to do is set up, because I have a couple pieces of equipment, I always do. So I'll set up some of that and then we'll turn this on and I'll kind of explain what everything is. It's my iPod. And I like to have a lot of different stuff because if more than one thing goes off, then you have a better chance of saying it's actually paranormal. It's my yes, no box. So there's the yes. And I know Daryl hates cat balls, but Daryl's not down here. I was thinking of gifting him one, just because it would be funny. And then this is another REM pod. So I have a friend who makes these. So if you're looking for equipment, he makes the yes no boxes. Let's talk about Brad. That's right. Maybe it's responding. But he makes like these whole kits. It's like $400, but you get like, I think you get like 2 REM pods. You get the yes no boxes. You get like a bunch of shit for like super cheap, and they're good quality and cute.
I need the info. Mother's Day's coming up.
Is Mother's Day coming up?
Yep.
Are you a mother? Thank you. Well, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you. Oh, you get one back. Thanks. I'm a grandmother this year. Thank you. Somehow that makes it more special. Right? Are you gonna talk through here? Because I need you to work for me today, because that'd be awesome. Okay, so this is the white noise generator. So once I turn this up, I'm working on it. So it's not sweeping, there's no radio, it's literally just white noise. And if you can listen, I can kind of hear voices in the background already. I'm not as good as they are at this yet, but. Can you talk through here? Oh, that's not on. Are you able to come and speak through this speaker? That's good.
No thanks. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why my computer is giving.
Okay, wait a minute. This is actually quite interesting. So to run this program, the sound, the input only comes from here. So my microphone, my internal microphone, can't pick up any. There's no microphone to pick up anything. And I asked it to talk through here, and my Siri is picking it up. That's what just happened. And it's not possible. And now people are sending me messages. So odd. There shouldn't even be sound coming out of the computer at all. So I'm kind of confused. Okay. Can you talk through here? I don't understand why it's doing this. Okay, this is seriously not me fucking around. Can you say hello to your guests? You can turn it up. So this is a noise gate, so I can basically, but the problem with that is when you do that, you're removing the frequencies the vocals are on. You need to talk through here. Look at that too. Are you glad everybody's here? Sorry. Can you tell me who's usually seen walking around outside this room? Do you not like this? I'll move it. You want me to take that off your chair? You guys can ask questions too. Maybe it'll talk to me. See, I don't know if can you guys hear like the lower vocal tones that are like underneath everything? So I'm gonna put this REM pod over by the laundry room, so we'll be able to hear it if it goes off.
Okay.
Careful. My leg is like sleeping.
More like I knock one off or something. Yeah.
So during the big New Year's party that we had, nobody was allowed in the basement unless they paid for like the tour. And so I had this couple, it was like two couples, like 4 people, and we were doing the tour, so we were the only people down here. And on the way down, when the ladies put her drink glass on top of the fridge down here, and like 10 minutes later, I think we were all the way back by where the boiler is, and something threw the glass off of the fridge.
Oh.
And we came running out here, we're like, oh, is that? She's like, oh, it's my glass.
Didn't like
So, kind of interesting. See, that's the thing I hate is like we can do all this stuff and we can till we're blue in the face, but it'll happen when it wants to happen. You can't force it. You can't make it, you know. Can't like hold a gun to their head. There's no point. Okay. So yeah.
snows. 9:03 p.m.
Oh, this is the well.
So the well is actually behind there. It's been filled in, however we tried to dig it out. And, then we had to stop, so, we haven't been able to get that far yet, so. Make sure this isn't a guest upstairs. Yeah, that's weird. All right. So who wants to come talk to us? Let's do voodoo. Go. No. Is Christopher down here? That's me. Christopher, will you come out and talk to me? That's my stomach. Do you want Theron to come back? While we're at it, did you enjoy your tacos?
Didn't have anything to
In case you didn't know, I took these dolls to the Mexican restaurant over there and fed them tacos and made a video. They were freaked out.
I'm
It was
sure.
totally worth it. Do you remember that day I took y'all on a date? Because you've been sitting in this basement for like God knows how many years. The least you could do is light some stuff up for me. I even fed you chips.
Did you at least splurge for cheese dip?
Yeah.
All right.
That was a great day. Did you like the cheese dip? Did Haley gave you margaritas?
Mm.
Do you not want to talk about that?
We don't talk about Margarita Day.
The first rule of Margarita Day is you do not talk about Margarita Day. Let's do some EVPs and see if we can get anything. Oh, my yes box just went off a bit. Or is that, oh, that's the EMF. My bad. Christopher, are you down here? Did you want to talk on the phone? Can you say hello? Is there anything you want to say to anybody here? So whoever you want to talk to, can you just nicely touch them on the shoulder, not scare them, but just nicely? Nobody? Can you say the name of the person you want to talk to? Can you do me a favor? There are people on the top floor. Can you go pull one of their hair upstairs? Make sure it's really good though, so that everybody knows it happened. Thank you. Now you just remember if someone says that. Can you go set the REM pod off on the fridge out there?
He's still up there with one hair.
I hope so. Let's play this back. You hear it? Listen.
Is that shuffling?
Christopher,
There's
are you
a-
down here?
Let's see if I can clean it up.
Christopher, are you down here?
Sometimes you gotta like, am I just crazy? I'll play it one more time and you tell me if y'all hear it. I got it.
Christopher, are you?
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Christopher, are
You
you
hear
down here?
Did anybody, okay, I'll bring it over there if someone wants to hear it.
I heard it.
Okay. So that I think was definitely an EVP.
Did you want to talk in the phone?
That's me sniffling.
Can you say hello? Is there anything you want to say to anybody here? So whoever you want to talk to, can you just nicely touch them on the shoulder, not scare them, but just nicely? Nobody. Can you say the name of the person you want to talk to? Can you do me a favor? There are people on the top floor. Can you go pull one of their hair upstairs?
But we did have the, it was weird, like toward the end, this is only like about 10 minutes ago, the cat ball was sitting right in front of that door. I didn't know it was there. And I'm in this doorway, like we're all out here. And I shine a light in there and said, oh, somebody picked the cat ball up. And they're like, oh yeah, somebody must have got it. And I turned my light off, and as soon as I turn it off, the cat ball goes off. Someone stuck it in the doorway. It was like somebody telling me or telling us it was there. Like we were forgetting it. And they stopped, and we asked them to do it again, and they did it again. So that was pretty interesting. But we really didn't do much up here, but we were seeing we were all down there at one point. We were seeing shadow anomalies and stuff up here, movement, but we couldn't really make out what it was. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to start down there, start here. You guys got equipment you want to use? We have a REM pod behind us. So they left up here for us. You guys have any equipment you want to use? Okay. Well, we could just use REM pod and then we can work off of that. See if we can get something to set it off for us.
Sorry, it's me.
Okay. Yeah, what do you guys got?
I got that thing I was telling you about. But
Let's try it.
Okay.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to come to...
It's new, so it's only use much seconds.
You just put this one on.
Oh, we got the cake too. Okay.
It's going crazy. Maybe it's my phone. Probably. My phone's far away.
It's the camera.
No, maybe the camera.
It could be the exercise. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a clock, there's an exit sign, there's that little, looks like a smoke detector above your head. Here, let's
Camera.
move. Let's move down. Watch this. We've had a couple people already trip over.
What is it? Oh, the chair thing?
Yeah, the chairs. Supposedly this is the most active room. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe past it. This guy right here. So if anybody wants to go in here, this is the Carrie Nation room. This is the one they were talking about. With the bathroom and everything. Yeah. So if anybody wants to go in there, do anything, do any kind of investigating, there's that. down here's where I heard the footsteps on that. I was sitting outside this doorway right here. And it sounded like someone walked. I was the only one out here. It sounded like someone walked way up here and stepped on this plastic right next to me. And then it kind of moved away, whatever it was. But we were asking for it to come down. Like we kept asking, hey, come on down, come on. And finally, we heard something move. You got the rooms down here you guys can check out.
Is that where they usually see a walk between the rooms?
Is that what they said? I don't know what
Was it this side or that side?
I don't know what I know this one room, I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the one with the weird closet. Yeah, this closet back there is the bottom. I don't know what story it is. This closet. No, then you have the bell. The bell will ring. So we can ask the bell to ring.
You said it used to be a doorway.
Yeah, well, there is. There's another door on the other side that's closed off. You can see it in the hallway.
But somebody was already in the closet. There's somebody's mother. Is she in this group?
Yeah, they were in here a little while ago doing some stuff in there. So anybody want to go in there, they can mess around with that. See if we get the bell ring.
Heck no.
You go there? Doesn't even know.
Yeah, I don't think it's a demon, guys. I really don't. So, you guys want to ask questions or see if we can get the REM pods and K2s to go up? If there's anyone up here, we were up here a few minutes ago. I brought some new friends with me. The other guys went downstairs in the basement. Would you come up here and maybe have a conversation with us? Maybe set that REM pod, that red light off at the very end of the hall. Could you do that, please? Might want to ask him.
Lisa, do you want to ask Kirstie Alley if she's there?
Kirstie Allen.
She's visited here, but now she's gone, so I figured maybe she came back.
She's probably still at her house in Wichita.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house. Let me see if there. Anybody here? Can you knock on something like this?
Move that REM pod in front of that doorway. We're getting the cat ball to go off. See what happens again. you show me where the cat ball is, please? Where'd you put the cat ball?
Do you like to walk up and down the hallways? Making noise?
You wanna come down here and join us? Music.
Sounds like it.
No music box.
I thought I heard it down there, but then was that somebody's phone maybe, or wind chimes? The other end of the hall?
Definitely coming from that area.
Yeah.
Are they setting something up in that room down there? Did you hear like a music box or something playing?
Did you hear it like in the back room
Yeah,
over there? Because I did like at the beginning, right when we came up.
I did too. And I thought they had said the other group was somebody's phone going ring?
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, but no one has a phone, like,
We're not playing music.
I have the
though.
phone, but he doesn't play music.
Yeah, I heard it when we first came up, but I thought they had
I
said
did
somebody's
too.
phone, so
Yeah.
I didn't pay any attention. But it's still the same thing I heard earlier, like a music box sound.
Mhm.
I don't hear it now.
no, me neither. Can you make a noise? Maybe like knock on the door or knock on the wall, like let us know you're here with us.
Is that a camera out there?
I'm not.
Oh, it's not music or
I think that's part of the alarm system. It's a ring, whatever it is.
What's that?
What was that? Did it come from the room behind us here? This room?
It came, I thought, somewhere behind here, right?
What?
It's only back there.
Yeah.
Back there.
What did it sound like?
It was like a clicky, not like that, but it was,
Something moved.
Yeah.
It was movement.
it wasn't creaking.
I just heard a floor creak, I don't know.
Did you hear it in there? Yeah.
Wait again, this one.
Nope, I was sitting on the toilet, sitting on the toilet. What do you know? It was. Using it. Okay, so I want to make sure I was at some walk that
Can't tell anything.
Oh man, he said this was one of
Okay.
the sunflower.
To me, that noise sounded like it came from here. It sounded like it came from that door, but there's a room here. The door is blocked up.
Well, this is the one that had the.
That just sounded like moving.
Mm-hmm.
I see anything knocked over. Are you in here? You trying to get her attention? It's funny because I did ask for to make a noise.
Somebody make that noise?
That was
I probably heard a noise.
There's
They
like
probably
a,
didn't.
like a running noise, like a.
with the noise we heard.
Yeah,
It was like a couple. It was
a few in a row.
yeah. And it was quick.
But it wasn't tapping, it wasn't knocking.
Mm-mm. It was like shuffling or something. You have her attention now. We're in here. You see that light on the bed? The green light? Can you light that up? Can you touch it to let us know you're here with us? You know, I don't believe you're here. I don't think you exist.
Can you tap someone on the shoulder?
I don't think they can. I don't think you're that strong. I don't think you're strong enough to make a noise or to light that up. And we're gonna be here all night. If you're here, let us know. So was this the room she said it was like really active?
She said the banner and the sunflower she thought was the most.
Where's Sunflower? Is that up here or downstairs?
Oh, I think it's up
It's
there.
the one by the stairs.
Oh, when you come up here.
Mhm. And the one down there. I don't remember.
The buffalo, she said that's what.
The other one with the toilet.
The toilet?
Carrie Nation.
Carrie Nation?
Yeah, Carrie Nation.
Said they had a conversation in there, didn't
The other group I was with, they were in there for like 15 minutes doing something. The three girls, they said they were having some. That's where the cat ball and all that stuff was going off right there. I got the REM pod down there in
Should they
front of
just
it
ask
now.
it simple questions? Like, do you like it here? Do you leave?
I have a lot of skeptics in this room who don't believe you're here, don't believe you exist. I'm one of them. You're not doing anything to make me believe you're here. Guess you have nothing you want to say to us.
Watch them all end up in our room. That doesn't, it's supposed to not even have any activity.
That's how it usually happens.
They're all waiting until 3 a.m.
We're usually up at that time anyway for morning.
Alrighty.
Yes, you're not here.
No. Guess all the rumors are not true. It's so hard to, like, when you do it in like larger groups, it's better like to have like 1 or 2 people, maybe 3. You get more activity. I think because it's like they feel like they're doing tricks, you know. So it'd be good, like, once this like session's over, when you guys break off and do your own things, to maybe like small groups hit these rooms.
Now, when you would do your show, how long would you investigate to get
A week,
the whole week?
yeah. Average. Some places were 2 weeks. So 43 minutes, and then break that down to like about 40 seconds worth of evidence all in a week. You know. But there's no, don't get me wrong. I mean, you have stuff like the stuff like, you know, we have like you know, like these type of things with cat balls and stuff. That's stuff that would never make it to the show. I mean, it would be really like solid evidence. Like you see a freaking apparition come through a wall, or, you know, or open a door, or something like that. That's the stuff you would capture like on video. Like this stuff would never make it to a show. It just it's good for events. I mean, but it's there's times like I've been at some of these events like these where crazy stuff happens. Like you can't explain it. You see things like, I mean, I did this one in West Virginia at the old hospital on the hill, and I tell you, that place was like, it was insane. People were seeing full body apparitions. They were seeing shadow anomalies walking. I saw stuff that I hadn't seen in years, just, you know, a 2-day event. So you can get them, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, sometimes you get some really cool stuff. But it doesn't act like, it doesn't, you know, doesn't happen on demand. We'd have to place, you know, multiple cameras, you know, everywhere, and we'd have 3 or 4 cameras on us every time we investigated. Yeah, we would do sometimes, you know, 7, 8, 10 runs in one night, and that's just one team. So say me and Mustafa went out, or me and Kristen went out, sometimes we'd be out 7 times in one night. And that'd be 7 hours, sometimes, you know, more than an hour at a time. And that's just our team, not including the other teams.
I think a lot of people think it just happens in that.
It doesn't,
43 minutes.
yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it does, you know, and that's why I say it seems like it happens better when it's smaller groups. So that I think they're, you know, they feel like they're probably acting for us, you know, they're doing tricks.
When you're in a big group or a little group?
No, like when you have a big group, like
Okay.
they're probably shy, you know, like anybody would be. Like they don't want to come in here and perform parlor tricks in front of everybody. But if it's like 1 or 2 of you, I think you got a really good. I think you guys tonight, like you guys are all staying here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like tonight, keep your eyes open, you know. That's when stuff's gonna really start kicking off for you.
Great.
No.
I'm gonna try one of the other rooms.
Sure. Let's see. Did you ever go out to that ranch that was supposed to be?
Sorry?
That lady that bought that. It used to be an old western town, like an abandoned western town. Tried to read.
Are you asking if I did?
Yeah, have you ever been out there?
Where's this at?
I can't remember. I don't remember.
Is there a Kelly in our group,
Wyoming,
you
maybe?
guys?
A Kelly? Is there a
Uh-huh.
Kelly here?
No?
Maybe in the other group?
Okay, maybe.
Why?
You got a name?
I did. I was in Carrie's room and I thought I'd try my little toy I was telling you about that I don't put much stock in. And it said sac, throat, area. And then it said something else. I can't remember what the word was that was kind of relevant because, you know, my memory. And then it said, I said, is there anybody else you would like to talk to? And it said Kelly.
We'll have to ask. Maybe ask Sarah if there's a Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe someone works here or used to work here.
Yeah. It was interesting. And then the last word it said was rope.
Rope. And that's, what is that you have there? An ovulus?
Yeah, basically. It's the same thing.
Okay.
They call it something else, but it's the same thing.
Gotcha. And that was all coming out of the Carrie Nation room?
Yeah, I was in the bathroom.
Guess we need to go in there after they have that other
Do you
conversation.
know what room is below her room? Because I think there's water running in it.
What?
I heard water running. I thought it was her toilet, so you know, I went and took off the back of the toilet and everything. I was gonna fix it, and it wasn't hers, but I still heard water running.
I'll go check.
All right. See how crazy. He's probably not doing it now with my light.
So it's right under the Carrie Nation room?
That's what. Well, yeah, I thought it was her toilet.
What's above our room? Or below our room? I forgot. Or maybe that was a tier.
How many people are in here with us? How many spirits? Is this your room? Is this where you stay?
Was that you that said sorry, or was that them?
I didn't say. I think I said so. I did.
Oh, you said it? Okay.
I was like, oh.
If this is your room where you stay, can you light that up to red? Can you make the lights go red? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is.
wow.
Thank you. So this is your room where you like to stay. Does anyone else stay here with you? Can you make it go red if someone stays in here with you? Yes. So is there more than 2 of you in here? So if you go to red, that means yes. Is there more than 2? Is there more than 3?
Just two.
Are you okay with us being in here? Just remember, if you go to the red, that's yes. Oh. Does that mean no? That was my stomach.
She's like, yeah.
Yes, that was my stomach.
There you go.
I had enchiladas. If you say something very close to her phone, We can hear it. You just have to speak very loud.